Great. Well, I guess we'll call the meeting to order then. The first thing I would like to do is thank you all for being here. This is a little bit out of the ordinary. I'm not sure we've ever done anything like this before, but times are different today. There is the raised hand feature like Therese mentioned, so if you have a question or comment or whatever, feel free to use that. After me, we're going to have a few other speakers, David, Gracie, Jason, if he wants to say something. Matthew Bradley was supposed to be here, but has some work stuff that came up. So he may or may not be in the meeting today. And then Richard, I believe, has some things to say. So first, thank you all for being here. This will pass. So we'll do some meetings this way for a while, but this will pass and we'll be fine. Those are my words of inspiration for today. We got this. Richard, who's next?
Next, I think we were going to have Matthew if Matthew was able to join, but I don't see Matthew on the list yet.
I don't believe he's on, yeah.
So he wasn't able to come in. So gosh, I guess, is Jason on?
Yeah.
Jason, do you want to come in and say a few words here?
Well, can everybody hear me? Switch over to me. Okay, good. Well, yeah, like Chad said, good morning. Obviously, this is a first for us, and it's definitely a unique situation. So nice job for the powers that be that put this together to get everybody on. I think moving forward, I'll probably have more of a standard agenda that I can help President Chad with on these. We may even have somebody singing, right? We might have a song, and we might even have a pledge. It'll be a lot of fun. But as for today, I'm not really part of the specific agenda, but I'm sure I can come up with a really funny joke at some point, and I'll put my hand up for that.
Do it.
I'll work on that.
All right, so maybe David next. David Gracie. Is he on? I'm looking over here.
There we go. Okay, having some technical difficulty there, unmuting. Thanks, Richard.
Yep.
So yeah, I don't want to be too redundant here, but it's a unique opportunity for us to speak and meet today. And I guess I just want to kind of reiterate what Jason said. I'm really thankful for Richard and Wesley's expertise and work in getting this thing set up. I think my only comments really are just that, we're all kind of enduring the same thing, having to limit our connections and our relationships, having to prioritize that stuff. For me, it's been kind of like you guys, most of y'all, I'm sure it's your family, your dear friends, and your clients. But when things got really difficult, I think maybe several days ago, mid last week, the Rotary Board started communicating, and our main objective is simply to foster and maintain that same type of connectivity that is dear to us in our family and client and dear friend relationships. So this is kind of what this whole thing's about. So I appreciate everybody taking part in this. And, again, I'm just thankful for Richard and Wesley's expertise, and Chad, Jason, everyone that's kind of helped pitch in here. Naomi's been real active. Other efforts are going on to maintain the connectivity in our club. And thank you for Naomi for what you're doing. And I'm just glad to be a part of this forum. Thanks. I think, Richard?
Yeah, so I'll take it from here, and then Chad is going to wrap up at the end of the meeting. I guess the first thing is this is going to be a really short meeting, so I see we're up to about 40 participants now. So if you folks have just joined while we've been yammering on here. In future meetings, we are planning on actually having a program presenter. So we're going to do something similar to what we've done in the past with our live programs and have a speaker. I think 2 or 3 of the speakers that we already had lined up for this period are probably going to wind up agreeing to do, there'll be a PowerPoint slide presentation as part of it, maybe some videos, but we'll have more of a standard structure to our meetings as we go forward. But to that end, a number of our meetings that we had scheduled during this extended period are ones that are Rotary related programs, like the Rotary Student Speaker Program, the ROTC program. Those are things that obviously aren't going to be able to take place any longer. So we are definitely looking for program ideas. In other meetings, we will probably open up at the end. We'll have a really nice Q&A section. But because we're new to this, we felt like it probably today is best if everybody could just send your suggestions or your program ideas through to the following email address. It's info@rotarygainesville.org. That's rotarygainesville.org, info@rotarygainesville.org. We'll send that around in an email so everybody can respond. But any program ideas that you have that you think would be helpful, please send those through to us. A number of us on the board will get copied on those emails when you send them. We're also going to start sending out several emails during the week to let everybody know what's coming up on the next meeting, to tell you what the agenda is for the next meeting. So we'll do a little more organized advance notice of what the content of the meetings is going to be. Also, one thing I know as the board was talking about this yesterday, it's just, continues to be really important to us. We have so many business connections through our club. I just want to remind everybody that you can do everything you can to support our local businesses. And, now there's an awful lot of curbside pickup, but as much to the extent that you can, buy local. And to the extent that you can, support the local restaurants with their takeout service. Tip a lot. Feel so sorry for all the folks that are relying on tip income and the like. So the other ask, I guess, that we have is that if you have any ideas on things that we can do as a club to help the community, or the larger community, or certainly any of our families or friends associated with the club, please do reach out to us. You can either reach out, as Naomi has mentioned in some of the emails that she's sent, or you can email the board, or you can email that info@rotarygainesville.org email. And just let us know if there's anything that we can be doing as a club to help anybody in the community in any way. With that, I think I'm going to turn it back over to Chad.
All right, can you all hear me still? So like Richard mentioned, if you have program ideas for future meetings or really any kind of feedback at all, we'd love to hear it. info@rotarygainesville.org. We will start sending email reminders during the week to keep you all engaged and informed. We will, in the future, have more question and answer, more announcements, things like that. Given this is our first meeting, we're kind of getting our feet wet now. So I think for today, that's everything that we need to go over. And the meeting is adjourned. Looking forward to seeing you all again next week.
Chad?
Yes.
Thanks, Chad.
Yeah, I have a hand up.
Yes, ma'am.
It's Patrice. Don't have any particular organized thoughts on this, but I had 2 ideas related to the crying need for cloth masks, because apparently in the healthcare community, Plan B is to cover the N95 masks they have in the hospitals with cloth masks and somehow launder or sterilize those and reuse them. So there are some burgeoning efforts to organize people to acquire supplies, fabric, notions, thread, which is not cheap, and locate people that can sew and get those going. That would be a great project. I don't have the bandwidth to lead it, but I can certainly provide links. The second part of that is, I think in the paper this morning, there was an article about somebody using a 3D printer to make something more approximating like an N95 mask. There's a 3D printer at Santa Fe College in the construction school. So you guys that are construction oriented, if you have any interest in exploring that, I think that that's something tangible we could do with idle hands and make us all feel better.
Okay, thanks, Patrice.
Yeah, Patrice, I've made a note of those, and we'll add those to the list when people send in their ideas on things we could do in the community.
Yeah, Joanne's Fabric has patterns on the web. There are a couple places, so if there's any interest, I'll be happy to provide you all that info, Richard.
Oh, great. Yeah. It'd be helpful too, because our sewing project in Cambodia is making masks for right now for Cambodia. So
Cool.
It would be good to get those, whatever additional input there is. You know, just on the chances, for whomever is still logged on, if there is anybody here that has connections to federal or state healthcare officials, the plants in China have reopened, and through one of my healthcare connections, I wound up with, there's a group there that has a number of millions, probably 30 to 40 million N95 masks that the Chinese government has now just reopened and allowed them to start shipping. But they don't have connections into the United States. They are CE approved masks.
Do you know Chris James?
No, I don't. Oh, I know the name. But...
Yeah, he's an importer. He has a side business. He's like this whiz PhD economist type dude. He does investments. He has a side business importing goods from Asia.
Good. Yeah. So
that's who I would call.
That sounds great. I'll reach out to him. Could you email me his contact information, Patrice?
Yes. Can I have your email just in case?
Yeah, it's Allen, RALLEN, at Synogen, SYNOGEN.com.
Okay, will do.
Great. Thank you. Thanks.
Hey, Richard, I think Bob Mounts may have a question.
Bob? See if we can get you unmuted, Bob. I'm looking for you here.
I think I'm unmuted now.
There you are. Great.
It's not a comment or question, but it's a comment. We all have our individual networks to communicate with our neighbors. I happen to be still president of my neighborhood association with a mailing list of over 200 people, and it's been a very good avenue to get out word from the city and county, including that 10-page order that was obviously written by a crazy lawyer.
Yes.
But I also sent Chad, you may recall, I sent you a prayer for a pandemic.
You did. Yes, I remember that.
To me, it exemplifies the Rotary motto of service above self. Would you like me to read that to folks?
Sure.
It's written by Cameron Wiggins Bellm, B-E-L-L-M. May we who are merely inconvenienced remember those whose lives are at stake. May we who have no risk factors remember those most vulnerable. May we who have the luxury of working from home remember those who must choose between preserving their health or making their rent. May we who have the flexibility to care for our children when their schools close remember those that have no options. May we who have to cancel our trips remember those who have no safe place to go. May we who are losing our margin money in the tumult of the economic market remember those who have no margin at all. May we who settle in for a quarantine at home remember those who have no home. As fear, and I'd like to say concern, grips our country, let us choose love during this time when we cannot physically wrap our arms around each other, and let us yet find ways to be the loving embrace of God to our neighbor. Amen. And in that regard, I urge each of you to call someone every single day that you think needs personal contact or some help. That's it.
Thank you, Bob. I think Deborah has a question, Richard.
Thank you. I wonder if, on the note of the prayer that Bob read, if there are individuals within our club who have particular needs, and I think Richard may have alluded to this, of let the board and so forth know, but maybe this would be a good time to develop an intercessory prayer group or a prayer list or something like that during this time that could be distributed to people who expressed an interest in participating in something like that, so that we can include that in our daily prayers and reach out to our club members and their families in that way.
Yeah, Chad, I don't know if I know Naomi was considering putting together a call list, if you will.
Yes.
Naomi, I don't know if perhaps you could share that call list.
Yes, we have put
Deborah
together a list of all the members, and the board of directors are calling everybody on the list, about 241 people, I think, altogether, to see how everyone's doing and if there's anything that they need. And then we're documenting that in a spreadsheet. So all of our members are being individually contacted. And I know so far the ones that I've called, everybody's doing well, and a lot of them have some funny stories to tell and all like that. But it's been very worthwhile reaching out to all the members individually with a phone call. So that's so thank you, Deborah, for that suggestion. And we are, trying to cover that.
Patrice?
Yes.
Didn't know if you were.
I'm here. I sent you one email, introduced you to Chris by email.
Great, thank you.
And I'm putting the mask email together. Did somebody have a question for me?
No, I think you just popped up probably because your speaker was open.
Oh,
and,
crap.
Sorry.
Let's mute that.
Well, and Chad, think anybody, does anybody else have any comments before I know we're in the informal section here now of the meeting.
Yeah, we were going to stay on the call and discuss upcoming speakers and developments moving forward. So
yeah. Anybody would like to join on that part, please do. But yeah, it looks like Deborah has her hand up.
What's up, Deborah?
Unmute. Unmute.
It seems to me that we could go ahead and do craft talks, and it might be interesting since it's going to be recorded. I know we have some people with that technical skill, but we could have, when those are done, we could have those then posted somewhere on our site so that people who weren't at a meeting or weren't on this particular type of communication meeting could then go back in and learn more about the new members. And we could also start doing that with some of our older members, who have been members for a long time, and the new members, don't know their history or whatever. So that might be a fun way to do this. And people wouldn't have to, Tom, do you hear? Are you all still on? This would be a good way to do it, because we could use the time that people would be, like driving to and from Rotary to do, a short interview, or just say, hey, why don't you give us, a 5-minute craft talk and then post those, because I think it's very helpful for people to be able to get a running start on knowing their fellow members if they don't have the luxury of staying after a meeting or coming before a meeting to get to know people better.
That seems like a great idea. I think we can incorporate the craft talks, assuming you can line up craft talks for us in advance. we can line up those craft talks at each of the upcoming meetings.
David Chadwick is scheduled for next week, actually.
Great. We'll put that on the agenda. We'll put it on the agenda for next week then. That's great. Yeah.
All right. And then I'll get on to more.
And we are actually going to be recording these meetings so that people can log in after the fact and watch the recorded meeting. And I think we have the ability to edit that recording later. So we could probably, pull it down and just grab the craft talk portion and kind of preserve those. So we can embarrass people for a long time. Good.
And maybe this is what part of this time is about, to become more intimate, more knowledgeable about the reasons that people are in Rotary and what they're doing and how they're doing it. So
yeah, it all makes sense.
All right, so Richard, do you want to end this call and then we'll start a new call with the folks we mentioned?
That sounds good. We'll all log out of this and then log back in what, maybe 5 minutes?
That sounds great. Okay. All right, thank you all. Okay. Have a great week.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Chad.
Thanks, Joe, for everything you did.
Sure.